Welcome back. It's episode 6 of Realitypus.
Episode 6. We're banging them
Big
out.
6. The big
The
6.
big 6.
That's right. So we were talking the last time about the diamonds and rosé experience that we had.
So fun.
We forgot to mention really one of the hugest parts
whole
of the
point.
experience because you know why? It's not actually in part 1 of the Instagram reel. So this one, by the time you're listening to this, head over to the Realitypus page. You're going to see an awesome drag brunch that we went to at Diamonds and Rosé. Say Essence was one of them. And then also Blossom Dior Kennedy was her
Such a tremendous performer.
Exactly.
There was a lot of movement.
There may have been a wig lost at some point.
That was my favorite.
Not gonna say. But it was definitely such a fun time. And you know, again, gosh, we wish Montana was there with us.
Of course.
Right. How classic would that have been? But we are on our second half of the Montana from Real World Boston episode. And again, she really was just such a delight to have on the show. I mean, I consider her like, I could be friends with her at this point. You know, like I feel like we conversed, and we definitely will visit if we are in the LA area.
We did some chit-chatting about all the Vanderpump establishments out in LA.
That's what I want to say. We should do that tour.
Yeah, she's
of
been
those
to a lot of
places.
them. I went to Soar one time.
Okay.
Which was fun.
So now there's that new sandwich shop too, right? That's still there. That's Ariana and Katie's, right?
We have to go check that out.
That would actually be really fun. We could, and also stop by Jax's new place as well.
Yeah, if it's still there.
Well, we hope that it's still there.
Best of luck, Jack.
Come on. He's a good guy. But I feel like also his last name is Taylor as well.
Oh.
So Alex B. Taylor, Jax Taylor. You know,
Do you
we're
think
brothers.
you're related?
We're brothers. Yeah, we're brothers.
Yeah.
But you know, this has definitely been an exciting time with this Montana episode, and let's have Colt cue it up. What do you say?
Hit it, Colt.
Hit it, Colt. So let's talk a little bit, have some tentacle talk for you here. Real quick. These are kind of really quick answers. And it represents the 8 arms of the octopus. So there's questions. And we're going to kick it off. If you will. Tentacles. Yes. So we don't say arms, we say tentacles now. Okay. So tentacle 1, who do you think the villain of your season was?
Me.
You. Okay. Why? You.
Have you not seen
I did see the end. I just saw the end. Yeah. So, okay. Yeah, I could see, I mean, a little bit with the Elka movement at the end. Like, is that where, okay. You're talking about mid-season too.
No,
okay.
I'm talking about more about the stuff with like, see, and that goes back to like the misogynistic part and kind of what they show and what they don't show. The fact of the matter was, and that I'm even having to defend myself after this time, but I had gone on the show with a boyfriend. We had agreed to see other people. And so why I would even get flack for doing it when he was also seeing other people himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is, you know, and so I think for that alone,
you the
people kind of be like, villainess, here's this guy who really probably was in love with me. And I was just over the situation, and my young way of kind of maybe being out of it was like, hey, the other people, I'm going to go have this experience. We'll see what happens. And that's just palatable. People don't like it when women do that. Women are supposed to do that, you know?
Yeah. All right.
Well, I think that's an evolved answer, though, for you to self-reflect in that way and to say that. And yeah, I mean, no one's perfect. And I can't imagine like the immediate assumptions and the shit that people don't know what actually happened. True. And you get, that must be super, super frustrating. And I do think, like you were saying, the conversation about rape on the show in particular, I think that it absolutely came through that you were an advocate for women and that was important to you, and you were sort of there to hopefully move the needle on that issue.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. That was, I mean, at the time.
Bring down the mood on the tentacle talk. No.
Okay. Who was the hero or MVP of your season?
Who was the hero? I'm going to go with Genesis.
I agree with that. I think so too. I think she definitely had
She
a
went
lot of
through a
growth.
lot.
She did. Who was the most underappreciated of your season?
Underappreciated.
Or say underdog. How about an underdog?
Who was the underdog? Jeez.
We're
That's a
putting
hard
you on the
question.
spot.
Everybody was
I
so
know.
appreciated. Who was the underdog? Let's just go with we'll say Jason was the underdog.
Okay. All right.
I see that. I know.
The poet becomes the underdog, which I
Yes.
like. So what was the funniest moment of your season? I have one, but you go first.
Oh my God, well, we did go to Puerto Rico and compete against the
Oh yeah.
worlders or
Yes.
the road rulers, and that was a fun moment. There was a parrot that was sticking his tongue in Sean's ear, and it was making me laugh. I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh my God. All right.
What
I'm
was
gonna
yours?
go. I'm gonna go. I loved it. It was Scotch tape.
Oh,
I thought that was like such classic, like you guys just having a good time, putting on
yeah.
some makeup and being thrashers or how rock stars, if you will. So anyway, Scotch tape forever.
I forgot about
You were like, did you forget about Scotch tape? Oh
for a
no.
minute I did. I mean, now that you've said it. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, all right. Well, I'm glad to bring back the memory of Scotch tape. It lives on. How about this? What was the most heinous or cringeworthy moment of the Real World Boston?
Oh my gosh, probably from just me watching myself like with morning hair.
Oh,
Who smokes in the morning? Oh, just all of it's gross with the cigarette.
I can't even imagine this whole, I mean, back then it was like that was what happened. But can you imagine like being in your bedroom now and someone is like smoking a cigarette right
in the
next
bathroom.
Well, that was our concession. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of
Wow.
time spent in that bathroom.
Right.
It was. Okay, so who showed the most change or growth?
Who should I'm gonna say Elka. She was so young. She came on the show. She was like 19. She was really just fresh out of her house.
I agree with you 100%. Yeah, that
Mhm.
was definitely a moment of growth for her for the show. How about Tentacle 7, which is what did you think of the location itself?
I liked that it was a warm weather. I mean, cold. I liked that it was a cold weather location. I just liked the aesthetic of like the snow and the old
Yes.
cities, and I just thought it was very romantic and historic, and I liked it.
Your coat and hat game on
Yeah.
iconic.
I feel like I'm noticing like just in general clothing wise, a lot of Gap clothing at the time, with the stripes going across the
Oh
shirt.
my God, yes, those sweaters with across them.
Yeah, it was either Gap or Abercrombie at the time. I don't know, one of the two, but like I definitely had like 5 of them as well. So it was a sign of the times for sure. If this is off the tentacle talk for 1 second, but if you had to insert yourself into a real world location other than Boston, which one would you have picked?
Ooh, I think San Francisco's iconic.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay, nice weather. Can't beat that. Definitely no snow though. Tentacle 8. Who from your season would you like to grab a drink with today and why? And I know you said like you're all probably in communication with each other, but if you had to pick just one, who would it be?
Just one person. I would say I'm gonna pick Camila because I've had the least amount of contact with her or seen her. But I actually have to tell you, I'm going to actually have drinks with Genesis on Sunday.
What?
We are going to brunch together with one of the directors, cameramen from the Real World.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing.
And guess where we're going? We're going to the Diamonds and Rose brunch, which is the drag brunch for the Real.
I know exactly.
We were supposed to go to
We were supposed
that.
to go last week. Oh my God, we didn't do it. Yeah. Oh wow, I'm so happy that you're doing that. That's amazing. Wow, very cool. Well,
She executed better than we did on that
yeah,
one.
Montana got there before us. Damn it, she did it though. She's coming.
That's so fun.
Well, that was tentacle talk, but we do have a few more questions left for you. Are you doing okay time-wise?
Yeah, let me check. Yeah, we're doing good.
Okay, perfect. So Real World clearly now is defunct. Just there aren't any seasons going on, and I don't know when the last one happened. Do you think that you might have any advice to resurrect the Real World? Is there some way that we could successfully translate Real World into the year like 2024 or 2025 that could bring this like resurgence back of storytelling, if you will?
You're talking about for the younger kids, for like
Yeah,
our
let's say for the younger ones. Or actually, that's a funny thing that you said. Like, do you think Real World would work for, let's say, 40-year-olds?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking you'd have to just stick to the demo. I think there's such a love for these older seasons. And I think what I would like to see is like bring people from different seasons together into a house.
Oh, wow. I love that answer.
Or how about this? Real World Next Generation. What about our kids?
The kids coming on.
The kids of the Real Worlders.
I think Sean's daughter, Evita, was on the Real World like reunion back in the day.
Yes.
And I remember Ruthie like writing on her foot.
Tagged her foot. She tagged her foot.
Like I was like, oh, Ruthie, what are you doing?
What are we doing?
You're writing on a baby's foot right now. But much love to Ruthie. Can't say, she definitely brought the energy in Hawaii. But yeah, I feel like that could also be something successful. I heard, and I think this is true, that they're doing that with Teresa's, one of Teresa's daughters, Gia, from Real World of, not Real
Housewives
World,
of Jersey.
Real Housewives. Sorry, I'm all in my reality TV world now. But can you imagine? So I guess some of the kids from the Housewives franchise were filming this summer, I heard. So similar. We would love to see that though.
Because what a reflection that they would be about their parents and what's changed, what's similar. That's a fantastic idea. Pitch it. Pitchable.
I think, you definitely need to put a pitch deck together for that one.
I have all kinds of ideas. You want to hear mine? You want one more?
Yeah. Go for it.
You know John Brennan from LA.
Yes. Oh yeah.
So he and I are friendly. I want him to do a dating show where I'm the wingman. Because cowboy needs a wife. And I think he'd be the good counterbalance to that. Like, like the lemon after the tequila shot.
Yeah, I love that. I would watch that show for sure. When we were talking, I think you had mentioned there was a Bravo show that you might be interested in being on, which was MILF Manor.
That's not a Bravo show. I don't think they would.
Oh no, sorry. What station is it?
I think it's TLC.
TLC. Okay.
It sounds TLC forward.
Yeah, it was pretty. The first season was pretty trashy, but I got into the second season. I don't know. Are you guys familiar with this? So they have MILFs, and then they bring on all these young guys, but then they bring out the dads, and now the MILFs get to choose between the dads and the young guys.
Oh, wow.
That's definitely TLC.
Yeah, that's definitely TLC. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
So you would consider if that ever?
100%.
Wow. Okay.
That's so much.
I like that.
I'll manifest it for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll pray for you. We will. So I was gonna switch gears to talk about a little bit about the Real World music at the time. So when someone goes back and watches Real World, maybe on like YouTube, or not YouTube actually, because they still play the original stuff, but like let's say Netflix or any other place besides YouTube, the music has changed and been altered to kind of a more generic music. I think it has to do with musical licensings that at the time wasn't a thought, how it gets watched back.
Right.
But I think that maybe was also something that kind of affected the popularity of the show. Like I just think the music was just so on point. It was sound of the time,
Yeah, it was definitely an integral part of the show and helped to narrate the show, really.
Yes.
To narrate it and to set the tone for it. And of course, let's not forget that it was on a music channel. Right. So, I mean, it comes back to that. And that's why the music centered so prominently. And also because you're talking about 22-year-olds and, 20-year-olds are very, of course, committed to their music and what that means about them and who they identify as.
And I mean, at that time too, like music was like cassette singles or maybe about to be CDs or something. So it wasn't even digital at that point. One of the classic things that one song in particular is Bush, Nothing Hurts Like Your Mouth. Nothing hurts like your mouth. And that was
beautiful.
with you in it, that I was like, that music could not have been more perfect for that scene.
Yeah. Well,
Amazing.
you know, when I'm first introduced, I'm coming up the escalator and they play Fiona Apple's Criminal, which is great.
That's your vibe on the show.
But it is a little bit leading, no? I mean, it up kind
was
of
there,
like, here you go.
Was there one scene though that you were walking to like Meredith Brooks, I'm a Bitch as well? Like,
I think so. I think that maybe came out after.
It was towards the end, yeah.
Well, I was like, I know they did that for somebody.
You've watched it probably much more recently than I have.
Yeah. It was towards the end, but I think to your point about the narration, I did notice that individually when I was watching it, that lyrically, the song choices were so smart and well-timed and subtly, but very representative of what was going on the show. That was
right.
I think whoever was in charge of that was super smart. It was great.
Yeah, I loved it. I was like, wow, this is so good. And a lot of the times back then, I think I learned that song from the show. So I would like go out and like listen to the song after and be like, oh my God, I love that. I heard that here. You know, that was on Real World or something. So very cool and super fun. And of course, there was no social media back then as well. Can you imagine going into Real World back then if there had been social media? Would it have been a game changer?
Yeah, well, I have to say that when we finished filming and came out, that's when like AOL message boards had just come on. So there really was kind of access to it. And I actually did at first go and look at the message boards. And then I wanted to slit my wrists.
Yeah, we don't look.
I learned kind of early on to disengage from that in general. And even on social media now, I'm pretty quiet. I don't engage much because I just don't feel like it's very authentic. It just doesn't leave me feeling very good. So I would like to think that I would take kind of the same approach to it then as I did now, which is I just kind of cut things off if I don't feel good. You know, I hear people say sometimes like, oh my God, I was suicidal over the trolling online. And I'm like, delete your account and go for a walk. Like nobody is opening up the door to your office and telling you you're fat and closing it. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my God.
Stop looking at it. That's true. Mental health boundaries for sure. You have to never read the comments because you could be the perfect human being on the planet and people are still going to shit on you for some ridiculous, ignorant reason. So yeah, I feel you on that.
Those keyboard warriors nowadays, they really they fight a mean game with their hidden profiles that you can't see anything that they're doing, and they want to pick it all apart. But that's a whole other show topic. What about, here's a hypothetical or kind of like maybe a different scenario. If Real World were to come on today and maybe not be in such like mecca areas like Boston or Los Angeles or, you know, wherever, do you think Real World could work if it was like an up and coming, like not so popular area to live that maybe had something? I'm just wondering, like, because I'm thinking about how would I maybe change it up a little bit by making it an area that wasn't so hugely popular and maybe the Real World made it popular. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I have to tell you that just like the music is another cast member, the location is as well. And there are some seasons that didn't do as well, really primarily because of location. And now, look, I'm not a producer on the show. I don't want to speak out of line, but I've heard that the foreign cities didn't do as well. People just don't respond to it. They don't have the same kind of connection to Paris or London that they do to New York or LA. And I think it's supposed to be aspirational. People want to go to these cities and think, I want to be a singer and try my luck in, you know, Manhattan. So no, that it would even be the same show without that. I mean, there are shows that have been done like that. It's called The Simple Life, right? Where it's like, like fish out of water.
Yes.
Show with Luann and Sonia. Did you watch it?
I only saw like the first episode when it came on after like another show ended, and I was like, okay. That was, were they originally what season were they for? That was Housewives, right?
Housewives of New York, and then they did like a go to a little town and kind of boost up the town, fish out of water thing.
I think I only started watching during the reboot for the New York because it was so difficult for me to think about watching like 10 seasons of New York. And it was once that change happened, I was like, I'm going to watch this now just because I can be caught up and know everything that everybody else knows. So I guess that's just off the grid question. What do you think about these reboots maybe that are happening that also could potentially happen with New Jersey? Do you think the reboots are a good idea, or do you think people will miss kind of the OG characters?
I like the reboot. I have to say, I like it fresh. I was happy with New York Housewives.
Who's your favorite?
On the New York Housewives, Jenna
Yes.
Lyons. Can't you tell by my
Meredith also loves her too. Yes.
Correct answer.
Yes, I love her aloofness, her cool, casual.
Yeah, she's chill, but she also seems like a genuinely like lovely human being.
Yeah. I also, Bryn's fantastic. I love that Sai is like a social media person.
Yeah.
They all kind of have like a really fresh take on what it means to be a housewife.
It's a fresher New York. It's a younger generation.
Yeah.
And let's see what happens with Jersey, because I think Jersey's about to get the New York treatment.
This is what I'm talking about. We recently saw Melissa Gorga at a Stanford event. As you know, we gave her one of those little Realitypus bracelets. We didn't ask her about that, but I'm curious to know, what that would mean for her. Like, I mean, what do you do at that point when your show ends and that at last episode
don't cry for Melissa Gorga.
No, she's all that.
Gonna have more time at Pash fashion show.
Okay, yeah, she'll be working at Envy. She'll get it all together. She'll be all set. All right, you're like, do not cry for Melissa Gorga. That's great. I love you. Thank you. That's awesome. Let's talk about if someone was asking you, what do you think it would take to make it on a reality TV show? What advice would you give someone who's considering going on a reality TV show?
Yeah, I would say there are some people that are just really comfortable like putting their stuff out there. And you have to just be one of those people that's just really kind of comfortable by that, not too affected by cameras. Some people really are kind of affected by cameras, other people are able to kind of tune that out. So if you're really a person that is just really comfortable putting yourself out there, then go for it.
Do it. Don't read the comments.
Yeah. Don't read the comments.
Shut down your profile. Don't worry. It's gonna be okay.
I actually don't even watch my shows, to be honest with you, or I'll watch them once. Whereas I know some people really would rewatch stuff and like really pick it apart. I like to kind of see what was out, what had been put out, and I wouldn't watch them after that. And there are some challenges that I've been on that I've never even seen myself on, because I'm critical of myself. I don't want to. It's like you do it and then just walk away.
Yeah, no, I actually have only watched what I'd done twice. And I was like, you know what, that's it. I feel like I have my own memory up here of what the experience was like. And sometimes when you watch it back, you're like, that's not necessarily different, but it's a version of what happened because, like, let's say a whole activity was missing and, I don't
context.
Like there was
memory. It starts to become the memory. Like when you look at a picture, just remembering the picture, not the thing.
Yeah, like you remember the good times, or that's just like where your mind. I feel like for me, like that's definitely just having that experience. I think it makes me empathetic, and it makes me like just want to communicate more with people who have done reality TV shows, and I just find it fascinating because everybody's got their own kind of take on it. If you had to join a different cast other than yours, what cast would you have hopped into, and maybe who would you have bumped out? You don't have to do the bumped out part, but like, let's say you were the 8th cast member.
Of another show. Well, like I said, I feel like San Francisco would have been an iconic
Okay.
Iconic season. I definitely watched that like while I was in college, and I just thought they were super cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's wild too, because that's where Sean's wife.
Yes, Rachel,
Right.
who I ended up meeting later and like spending time with, having stayed at her house. And so knowing her really on a personal level, which is, of course is different than seeing someone on TV. Yeah.
How does that work in your mind when you're meeting someone that was on another season of The Real World that maybe you were a fan of, right? When you first meet her, you know, it's kind of like my feelings right now. I'm like, gosh, this is so awesome. Like, I can't believe I'm talking to you. Was it kind of that vibe where, you know, wow, that's Rachel from Real World San Francisco? Did you have something like that, or?
Yeah, definitely. I think there are some people that kind of struck me. You know, who got me was Heather B. When I met Heather B, because of course, again, I'm watching her when I'm 17 and like really looking at them. Oh, and Eric Nice. I met Eric Nice. You know, I'm an acupuncturist and a massage therapist, and actually I massaged Eric Nice.
Oh,
so,
wow.
I was like a kid watching The Grind, and I told my young self, hey, you're going to rub his naked body with oil. What?
You know, you've made it when.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Awesome. Wow. That's amazing. What about, so do you, in terms of who, I mean, you said you talk to everybody. You have. What, you know, if you had the opportunity to all meet up again, you would take that, right? That
100%. That's right.
I feel like I maybe saw was it a YouTube or something where you guys all got on a YouTube together really quickly at some point?
Oh, we did a Zoom call during the pandemic.
Okay. Yeah.
We all came together.
I love that.
Of course, Sean was at a like anti-masking rally, and I'm like, well, that's on brand.
Yeah. And I mean, and talk about, that's a super surprise too, right? Where Sean goes from like a lumberjack, another classic thing that I remember you saying, you know, he crunch and crunch through ice and snow, he lumberjacks, that's all he knows.
Yeah, that was
right.
Great.
And I was like, wow, that is classic right there. But then he goes and now he's, you know, Sean Duffy.
Yeah, was a congressman for many years. Not so surprising because he was in law school and he came from a huge family and they were all lawyers, and his dad was the mayor of the town before his brother. And you know what I mean? So it
little
was
nepotism
dynasty in this small Wisconsin town. Everybody definitely knew them. They were kind of the Kennedys of the Northern Trail, if you will. But kind of surprising how far right he went.
Yeah,
because like I said, back then in the 90s things were a little bit more you know, central.
Yeah, so sure. Crazy. Do you think that that viewers see people on reality TV as just characters and not real people sometimes?
Yeah, and I do think anytime you see somebody from reality TV, like you said, what do you think when you're talking to them? I think you really have to kind of take people just how you're meeting them then. You know, don't go in with expectations really of how they are, because it's really not. And, you know, the Real World, there is a lot of editing. Is it totally edited? No, that's basically how we were. But to know somebody just from the show is not to know Elka or to know me, or, you know, like I always say, if people think I'm a bitch, that's a vast oversimplification. You don't really, you know what I mean? Like, it's just everything's just too simplified, of course, for television.
Yeah, it's like a one-word snapshot summing up of an entire human being, which is not fair. Yeah.
This one was yours. Ready? This is from Wikipedia. Named for a character in Kurt Vonnegut's novel Slaughterhouse-Five, Montana is an atheist, fond of science, and an ardent feminist. So was that a fair description at the time? Is it still?
Yes, it is a fair description. And like I said, I think it's a description of, like, you know, when people are really asking you, like, when you're young, what do you stand for? Who are you? And then kind of, you know, putting that out as who you are. But as you get older, everything softens. And I think at the time they wanted somebody with it was that kind of like feminist, you know, atheist persona.
That token. Well, not that you are a token, but it had that kind of
that kind of
puzzle piece that they had, that formula.
There's definitely a lot more softness to my character than
of course.
Do you know who wrote that Wikipedia article, by the way? Have you read it? It is the funniest thing I have ever read in my entire life.
I don't, but you know what's funny is that my kids think it's really like cool that I have a Wikipedia page.
It is.
That's like clout if you have a Wikipedia page.
I mean, that's it. And having kids that could potentially watch the show. I mean, have they watched the show?
No, I don't think they have, unless they've seen clips like online behind my back.
Okay. So protect them at all costs. No, just kidding. Yeah. At some point they probably will. Well, I want to say thank you so much, Montana. Yeah. This was such a blast. I feel like I'm back in Boston. I've got my Gap t-shirt on and I'm ready to go, walk through the snow and go to the 7-Eleven or whatever it was around the corner.
Side note, my lipstick
there anymore. I'm so sad.
Yeah.
My lipstick did derail as predicted. That's why I was having a moment.
That's the problem with that lipstick. You know what I mean?
You gotta have
I know. It was risky. I need your tips. We'll circle back.
Sure. Well, thank you so much.
It was so much fun. Thank you for having me, you guys. I really had fun talking to you.
How freaking awesome is it that Montana sent us pictures of Scotch tape?
So cute. They're kind of like a little blurry too, like very 90s.
Very 90s, because it was probably done with like a Kodak camera.
Yeah.
Like one
little
of those,
Polaroid.
like, where you don't even get to see the pictures
before.
Right.
Or disposable.
You don't even know.
Yeah.
At that point, nothing's digital.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, there's so many differences in the world now. But, Scotch tape, Elka Christ, what? I mean, gosh, this is like some real world memories that I love so much. She really, just gave us so much with that episode.
Did. Yeah. So delightful.
Thank you again, Montana.
Thank
you. We love it. So we have some apples on the table right now.
Yep. DJ Polypuss has got his own little apple.
He's got 2 apples because, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but if you're an octopus, you need 2 apples.
At least, if not
2
8.
apples. He's not messing around.
Yeah.
But this is because we just recently visited
the RHONY Orchard.
Okay, which
you could not remember.
Could not say RHONY Orchard. I kept saying we're at the Orchard RHONY or whatever I kept saying.
It sounds like a form of pasta.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I can't. But then by the end of it, I was, tossing apples with the best
got her
of them.
down.
Yeah, and I was like, we're picking apples at the RHONY Orchard, which, again, give us a watch on Realitypus Instagram page or YouTube. We did a short on that one as well where you get to see kind of us walking around. And the reason why they had the RHONY Orchard is because on October 1st, that's when the Real Housewives of New York premiered.
Yeah.
And I feel like going through that experience, what we found out was they had their premiere party there the night before.
Of course.
So, of course, we were off by maybe 9 hours.
Yeah, just a few hours.
Just 9 hours
just
or
enough time
where
to be
you could have
inconvenient.
actually met Jenna Lyons. Oh my gosh.
Next time.
This is really wild. I feel like we definitely need to recap the first episode of RHONY for sure.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a future episode.
Remind me, I need to wear a blazer with just a bra underneath it.
Do you also have like very thick glasses?
I do, yeah, like the Dahmer glasses.
You call them Dahmer glasses?
Yeah, the ones with like the bar in the middle.
I feel like I want to say Coke bottle glasses. Would that
No, those are like the thick plastic
lenses?
Ones.
Oh, okay.
Hers are the wire ones.
So
with
like
the metal bar. She probably has like 9
that Jeffrey Dahmer wore.
Yeah,
oh my
exactly.
God. Okay. All right. Well, do you have a pair?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can get down with that.
Okay.
So the orchard, though. Let's talk about the orchard breakdown.
So fun,
Ooh,
honestly. When
wow,
you walk in,
wow.
it was magical.
It was. So there's a huge apple that says the Real Housewives of New York.
A big apple, if you will.
A big apple. Big.
You said huge apple. Way to blow it.
Well, this was a big apple, but even more love, right?
Yeah.
So that's huge. And then to the right of the big apple is a huge red carpet runway with the backdrop, the step and repeat, if you will. And that's where we got to take some amazing photos.
Yeah, they had photographers there too.
And we were dressed up to the nines.
Yeah.
Right? Like you had on a perfect white dress.
Little red lip.
Your little red lippy. That, we
got all over my face.
We got, in an ode to Montana, to the apple itself. That was so much fun. And then we move over, and there behind us is this like slow motion runway through orchard.
Yeah, like an enchanted orchard
legit,
forest moment.
How many trees was it?
So many.
Like 6 or 7 huge apple trees.
And then those like,
and they're all like hanging.
Geographically,
there's apples everywhere.
I said geographically. Geometrically shaped lighting structures,
like the diamond
that
ones.
You walk through.
More diamond.
Yeah,
it's not a diamond, but like more like a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do that. That was amazing. We walk over. There's a chandelier section.
That was cute. I liked that.
That was really awesome. And they're playing the intros, and the girls are all on
all the cast
the
members.
Intro. Then they move over a little bit. They've got their dresses.
Yeah, they had a display, kind of like the Met, if you will, with mannequins and dresses each of the girls had worn.
And at that point, I have on a black tuxedo. That I
You
then,
did. You even had the tuxedo shirt and everything.
Then I switched, here's a controversy, controversy, I should say, where I called it a wardrobe change.
It's a costume change.
And she calls it a costume change.
Wardrobe implies like a whole closet change.
See, I feel like it's one of those like potato.
I don't think it is.
You're very specific.
I think you're wrong.
All right. Well, watch the video and you'll get to see. Because then once I switched out of that black tuxedo, I put on this like circus red,
it was
sparkling,
like a lion tamer moment.
All
almost.
of a sudden, one of the photographers there was like, "Hold on,
wait,
we need a picture of this." So hopefully we could see those pics at some point.
Yeah.
But we were in front of the RHONY display sign where I accidentally kicked the Y down.
Did you?
Yes.
How did I not?
You gotta watch the video. Or actually, maybe I cut that out of the video.
I don't remember that.
I definitely. That's in part 2 of the video. So you'll see.
We should do the blooper reel.
Yeah, you're gonna see like the Y go down, and the girls who are running it are like, I'm like, I hope I didn't break the Y.
Yeah. We can't afford that yet.
No, not yet. We'll get there though. We'll get there. So. Again, I think that was just such a magical experience in Chelsea. And I love going on those Realitypus road trips with you.
Yeah.
And Colt was with us
there.
too.
That was nice.
We can't forget Colt.
The whole family. It was before our baby was born.
Yes, before.
So he wasn't there.
He wasn't. But, he's going to find a way to make appearances for the next time.
Yeah.
And I do have some exciting news about our next episode, though.
Hit me.
Location-wise, we are going to a casino to film. So we're going to the MGM Springfield Casino, which is super awesome. We are, in fact, at the Goodwin right now again. So we want to say thank you again for kicking us off with our podcast.
Yeah.
But we're going to do a little gambling.
Are we? Are you a gambling man?
I'll play the slots a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I can do a Wheel of Fortune slot. It's my favorite.
Give me a good Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
That's actually my mom's favorite show.
When you get that spin at the casino, though?
Whenever I accidentally make the mistake of calling my mom at 7:30, she'll always say to me, the Wheel of Fortune is on right now. Right?
I do love that show
and
as well.
she's very passionate about it.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's super fun for her. But yeah, we're gonna check out MGM.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, my contact there, we are in a room at MGM, which I am calling the VVIP room. So from the Real Housewives of Dubai,
VIP.
like them talking about the Beyonce concert, like when like literally we are not in VIP room, we are in the VVIP room because this room is spectacular. We're talking books that are hanging from the ceiling.
It's like kind of Harry Potter vibes.
Almost. I would say, like it's
sent me a photo. It looks
very
magical.
whimsical. I like using that word, whimsical.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. There's so much more to come. We have several surprise guests. coming up for future episodes as well. And I just want to say thanks again to all the listeners who are listening right now. If you're watching this on YouTube, we're cheersing you with an apple right now.
Yeah.
And I'll cheers you with an apple too. Ready?
Cheers.
Boop. And stay tuned. There's so much more on the way. We're just getting started on this Realitypus train.
Yeah, baby.
And stick with us. More fun to come.
See you next time.
You're not the one.